Powell, my second purpose today is to provide you with additional information. To share with you what the United States knows about Iraq's weapons of mass destruction as well as Iraq's involvement in terrorism. Which is also the subject of Resolution 1441 and other earlier resolutions. I might add at this point that we are providing all relevant information we can to the inspection teams for them to do their work. The material I will present to you comes from a variety of sources. Some are US sources, and some are those of other countries. Some of the sources are technical, such as intercepted telephone conversations and photos taken by satellites. Other sources are people who have risked their lives to let the world know what Saddam Hussein is really up to. I cannot tell you everything that we know. But what I can share with you. When combined with what all of us have learned over the years, is deeply troubling. Powell, what you will see is an accumulation of facts and disturbing patterns of behavior. The facts on Iraq's behavior demonstrate that Saddam Hussein and his regime have made no effort to disarm as required by the international community. Indeed, the facts and Iraq's behavior show that Saddam Hussein and his regime are concealing their efforts to produce more weapons of mass destruction. Let me begin by playing a tape for you. What you're about to hear is a conversation that my government monitored. It takes place on November 26 of last year, on the day before United Nations teams resumed inspections in Iraq. The conversation involves two senior officers. A colonel and a brigadier general, from Iraq's elite military unit, the Republican Guard. Audio tape. Slide 3. Powell, let me pause and review some of the key elements of this. Conversation that you just heard between these two officers. First, they acknowledge that our colleague, Mohammed El-Baradei, is coming. And they know what he's coming for, and they know he's coming the next day. He's coming to look for things that are prohibited. He is. Expecting these gentlemen to cooperate with him and not hide things. But they're worried. We have this modified vehicle. What do we say if one of them sees it? What is their concern? Their concern is that it's something they should not have, something that should not be seen. The general is incredulous. You didn't get a modified. You don't have one of those, do you? Slide 4. Slide 5. I have one. Which, from where? From the workshop, from the Al-Kindi company. What? From Al-Kindi. I'll come to see you in the morning. I'm worried. You all have something left. We evacuated everything. We don't have anything left. Note what he says, we evacuated everything. We didn't destroy it. We didn't line it up for inspection. We didn't turn it into the inspectors. We evacuated it to make sure it was not around when the inspectors showed up. I will come to you tomorrow. The Al-Kindi Company, this is a company that is well known to have been involved in prohibited weapons systems activity. Slide 6. Powell, let me play another tape for you. As you will recall, the inspectors found 12 empty chemical warheads on January 16. On January 20, 4 days later, Iraq promised the inspectors it would search for more. You will now hear an officer from Republican Guard. Headquarters issuing an instruction to an officer in the field. Their conversation took place just last week on January 30. Audio tape. Powell, let me pause again and review the elements of this message. They're inspecting the ammunition you have, yes. Yes. For the possibility there are forbidden ammo. For the possibility there is by chance forbidden ammo? Slide 7. Yes. And we sent you a message yesterday to clean out all of the areas, the scrap areas, the abandoned areas. Make sure there is nothing there. Powell, remember the first message, evacuated. This is all part of a system of hiding things and moving things. Out of the way and making sure they have left nothing behind. Slide 8. Slide 9. You go a little further into this message, and you see the specific instructions from headquarters. After you have carried out what is contained in this message, destroy the message because I don't want anyone to see this message. Okay, okay. Why? Why? This message would have verified to the inspectors that they have been trying to turn over things. They were looking for things. But they don't want that message seen. Because they were trying to clean up the area to leave no evidence behind of the presence of weapons of mass destruction. And they can claim that nothing was there. And the inspectors can look all they want, and they will find nothing. This effort to hide things from the inspectors is not one or two isolated events, quite the contrary. This is part and parcel of a policy of evasion and deception that goes back 12 years. A policy set at the highest levels of the Iraqi regime. We know that Saddam Hussein has what is called, quote, a higher committee for monitoring the inspections teams, unquote. Think about that. Iraq has a high-level committee to monitor. The inspectors who were sent in to monitor Iraq's disarmament. Powell, not to cooperate with them, not to assist them, but to spy on them and keep them from doing their jobs. The committee reports directly to Saddam Hussein. It is headed by Iraq's Vice President, Taha Yassin Ramadan. Its members include Saddam Hussein's son, Qusay. This committee also includes Lieutenant General Amir al-Sadi, an advisor to Saddam. In case that name isn't immediately familiar to you, General Sadi has been the Iraqi regime's primary point of contact for Dr. Blix and Dr. El-Baradei. It was General Sadi who last fall publicly pledged that Iraq was prepared to cooperate unconditionally with inspectors. Quite the contrary, Sadi's job is not to cooperate, it is to deceive. Not to disarm. But to undermine the inspectors. Not to support them, but to frustrate them and to make sure they learn nothing. We have learned a lot about the work of this special committee. We learned that just prior to the return of inspectors last November, the regime had decided to resume what we heard called, quote, the old game of cat and mouse, unquote. For example, let me focus on the now famous declaration that Iraq submitted to this council on December 7. Iraq never had any intention of complying with this council's mandate. Powell, instead, Iraq planned to use the declaration, overwhelm us and to overwhelm the inspectors with useless information about Iraq's permitted weapons so that we would not have time to pursue Iraq's prohibited weapons. Iraq's goal was to give us, in this room, to give those us on this council the false impression that the inspection process was working. You saw the result. Dr. Blix pronounced the 12,200-page declaration, rich in volume. But poor in information and practically devoid of new evidence. Could any member of this council honestly rise in defense of this false declaration? Slide 10. Everything we have seen and heard indicates that, instead of cooperating actively with the inspectors to ensure the success of their mission, Saddam Hussein and his regime are busy. Doing all they possibly can to ensure that inspectors succeed in finding absolutely nothing. My colleagues, every statement I make today is backed up by sources, solid sources. These are not assertions. What we're giving you are facts and conclusions based on solid intelligence. I will cite some examples, and these are from human sources. Orders were issued to Iraq's security organizations, as well as to Saddam Hussein's own office. To hide all correspondence with the Organization of Military Industrialization. Powell, this is the organization that oversees Iraq's weapons of mass destruction activities. Make sure there are no documents left which could connect you to the OMI. We know that Saddam's son, Qusay, ordered the removal of all prohibited weapons from Saddam's numerous palace complexes. We know that Iraqi government officials, members of the ruling Ba'ath Party and scientists have hidden prohibited items in their homes. Other key files from military and scientific establishments have been placed in cars that are being driven around the countryside by Iraqi intelligence agents to avoid detection.